Odds: Steelers big favorites over Browns in Week 6. The Pittsburgh Steelers are big favorites for their Week 6 home game against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. The Browns, 1-4, are coming off a 21-17 loss to the Minnesota Vikings in London on Sunday morning. The AFC North foes played the same opponent, both in Europe, in back-to-back weeks, as the Steelers beat the Vikings, 24-21 in Dublin, Ireland on September 28. The Steelers are coming off their bye week, where they are 14-4 under Mike Tomlin, including an impressive road victory over the Washington Commanders last season. This season, the Steelers are 2-2 against the spread, winning outright as underdogs against the Vikings in Week 4 and covering against the New England Patriots in Week 3. They lost as home favorites to the Seattle Seahawks in Week 2 and beat the New York Jets as road favorites in Week 1, but failed to cover. The 4.5-point spread against the Browns, if it holds, will be the largest point spread for a Steelers game this season. The Steelers have gone over their total in 3 of 4 games, going under only in Week 3 at New England. They've had a total over 38.5 points in 3 of 4 games, as well. The Browns are 2-3 against the spread, winning outright at 7.5-point underdogs in their lone victory this season in Week 3 against the Green Bay Packers. They also covered a 4.5-point spread as home underdogs in their season opener against the Cincinnati Bengals, losing by 1 point on September 7. The Browns are 0-2 against the spread as a road team this year. 3 of Cleveland's 5 games have gone under the total, with only their Week 2 game against the Baltimore Ravens and Sunday's loss to the Vikings going over. Just 1 of Cleveland's 5 games has had more than 38.5 points scored, though 2, including last week, have had exactly 38. This article originally appeared on Steelers Now. Odds: Steelers big favorites over Browns in Week 6. Related headlines: AFC North goes 0-3, Steelers alone in first place. Steelers wide receiver target expected to be released in off-season. Trouble in Baltimore, Ravens drop to 1-4. Former Steelers CB tries out with Buccaneers. The AFC North doesn't play nice. It never has, and it never will. Every matchup feels like a street fight disguised as a football game, and Week 6 is shaping up to be no different. But this time, the storyline isn't about who's tougher, it's about who's favored. The Pittsburgh Steelers, fresh off a statement win, enter Week 6 as big favorites over their rival Cleveland Browns. And that's turning heads across the league. The odds makers in Vegas don't hand out favoritism like Halloween candy. When they mark one team as a heavy favorite, it's usually because they see a storm brewing on one side and clear skies on the other. Right now, all signs point to Pittsburgh having the upper hand, while Cleveland looks like a team trying to hold its season together with duct tape and hope. The numbers don't lie, but they do tell a story. Depending on the sportsbook, the Steelers opened as anywhere from -6.5 to -8 favorites, a line that feels more like a warning than a prediction. It says the Browns are in trouble, that the bettors don't trust their offense, and that Pittsburgh's home field edge still carries real weight. And who can blame them? The Browns' offense has been sputtering like a car with a bad spark plug. Between dropped passes, inconsistent quarterback play, and an offensive line that hasn't lived up to its billing, Cleveland's attack has been frustratingly uneven. Meanwhile, the Steelers have done what the Steelers always do: find a way to win ugly. Mike Tomlin's squad doesn't need flash. They rely on chaos, defense, field position, and timely plays. It's not always pretty, but it works. And Vegas believes that formula will work again on Sunday. A tale of two mindsets. For the Browns, this isn't just another divisional game. It's a measuring stick, a chance to prove that they belong in the same conversation as Pittsburgh and Baltimore. But lately, that talk has been just that, talk. The Browns' vaunted defense, once hailed as the best in the NFL, looked mortal last week. Missed tackles, blown coverages, and an inability to generate pressure in key moments have exposed cracks in the armor. Myles Garrett can only do so much. He's still playing like a man possessed, but when the offense can't sustain drives, even the best defenders wear down. And with the Steelers' physical style, that could be a recipe for exhaustion by the fourth quarter. The Steelers, on the other hand, smell blood. T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith are licking their chops at the prospect of facing a Browns offense that has struggled to protect its quarterback. Pittsburgh thrives on momentum, and a loud Acrisure Stadium crowd only fuels that fire. Quarterback chaos in Cleveland. The Browns' quarterback situation has been the season's biggest soap opera. Rookie Dillon Gabriel got his first taste of NFL reality last week, and while he showed flashes of potential, the growing pains were obvious. The decision-making was slow, the timing was off, and the chemistry with the receivers just wasn't there. And that's the million-dollar question heading into Week 6. Will Gabriel get another start, or is Shedeur Sanders finally ready to take the field? Reports suggest Sanders could see action at some point this season, but unless Cleveland's coaching staff wants to throw him into the fire against Watt and company, it might not be this week. Either way, the uncertainty under center has Vegas nervous, and that's why the odds are so lopsided. When you don't know who your quarterback is, it's hard to know what your offense will be. The history factor. Pittsburgh has dominated this rivalry for the better part of 2 decades. Since the Browns returned to the league in 1999, the Steelers have treated them like a little brother, sometimes with tough love, sometimes with outright humiliation. Tomlin is 27-6-1 against Cleveland. That stat alone probably had a few oddsmakers nodding in agreement before setting the line. It's not just that Pittsburgh wins, it's that they expect to. The Browns, meanwhile, seem to tighten up in big moments. Whether it's turnovers, penalties, or poor clock management, they've made a habit of shooting themselves in the foot against their divisional rival. Keys to the game. If the Browns want to flip the script and shock the sportsbooks, they'll need 3 things. Ball security. Turnovers have been Cleveland's undoing all year. Against a defense that thrives on creating havoc, every fumble or tipped pass could be a game-ender. Defensive redemption. The Browns' defense must rediscover its early season dominance. Limiting big plays, forcing 3rd and long, and generating turnovers could keep them within striking distance. Explosive plays. The Browns' receivers have been criticized for their lack of separation. That has to change. Gabriel or whoever's under center needs help. Big plays that flip the field and energize the sideline. For Pittsburgh, the formula is simpler: pressure, pound, and punish. If Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren can establish the run early, the play-action game opens up for Kenny Pickett. Combine that with Watt's relentless pressure on defense, and the Steelers could control this game from start to finish. Vegas is rarely wrong, but football isn't math. Here's the thing about odds: they're a reflection of probability, not destiny. Vegas might be right 80% of the time, but it's that other 20% that makes sports magical. The Browns have been counted out before. They've been laughed at, dismissed, and written off.